And welcome to another edition of the Cinema for the Culture film screening series brought to you by the African Film and Arts Foundation. Today we have a live discussion with the director of You Will Die at 20, Sudan's official submission to the Academy Awards 2021. My name is Mojisola Shonoiki, and I'm the founder of the African Film and Arts Foundation. The director of You Will Die at 20, Amjad Abu Alala, is a Sudanese director and producer born in UAE and raised between Dubai and Sudan. He studied directing in media at the UAE University and worked as a film director and producer with various media institutions for Arab and Western channels. He has made many short films that screened in different film festivals, including Tina, Coffee and Oranges, Feather of the Birds, and Studio, which in 2012 was supervised by Abbas Kaya and Carol Stamin. In 2013, he received the Best Arabic Theatre Script Award from the Arab Authority for Theatre for Apple Pies. Since 2014, Amjad worked as head of programming committee on Sudan Independent Film Festival. His current feature film as director and co-producer, which we're actually screening this weekend, You Will Die at 20, One Line of the Future at Venice International Film Festival, and another 20 awards from Arab and international film festivals. And as like we said, it was the first submission in history from Sudan to the Oscars. So welcome, Amjad. Thank you very much for being here.
Hey. Hi, thank you, Mugi, and thank you for having me here. And I'm just following all the great things that the African Arts Center is doing. That's really awesome, and proud of you guys.
Thank you very much. Our next guest who's going to moderate the conversation is Dr. Suad Musa. She's Sudanese, and her expertise is in sociological and intersectional research, including the humanitarian field. Her research and writing qualities culminated in her winning the International American Ida Snyder Award Prize of 2019, awarded in Boston, for her research-based book, Hawks and Doves in Sudan's Armed Conflict, Al-Hakamat Bagara, Women of Darfur, recognized as the best book written by a woman of African studies in 2019. Thank you very much, Dr. Musa, for being here.
Thank you very much, Sergi and Mojisola.
Moji, yeah, yes. Moji for sure.
Yes, Moji is easy for me to say Moji.
Moji, yeah,
and, yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much for invitation, for the invitation. And I'm really delighted to meet Mr. Amjad, who is my national. And ازيك يا أمجد وكيف حالك
يعني شكرا يا دكتورة وسعيد جدا. I'm very happy to meet you also, and happy to find a woman from Sudan such as you writing about women from Sudan as al-hakamat and different things. Really proud of you all. Thank you.
Thank you. One last thing I just want to say is just give a brief introduction about the African Film and Arts Foundation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit media arts organization. Our mission is to create a platform to promote, showcase, and support content that depicts Africa and its diaspora family in all its brilliance. We aim to be at the center of networking between African content creators and American content creators, buyers, and distribution platforms. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Musa, who is going to be having a conversation with Amjad about the process of him making his film. Oh, I see people, there's people online. So I'll go and deal with that. So I'll hand over to you, Dr. Musa, and I'll come back on in about 30 minutes to wrap it up. Have fun.
Okay, thank you. Moji. Thank you, Moji. And so we are here finally to see and to meet you, Amjad. We are really glad to talk to you or to chat to you today about your film. But let me first say congratulations in producing such an evocative and captivating film drama, described by many as visually stunning and acted to perfection, and spontaneous and masterful debut.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Suad.
It is a really great job, and we are really proud of you, and you have lifted up our head as Sudanese and as African society.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
And we are looking
I'm
forward.
glad to hear that. And all the time when I hear that from a Sudanese people, I feel like maybe this is exactly what I wanted to hear. Me and my crew when we were doing the film.
Yeah, of course. And because, all we say is about something that you have produced as a team, and you have really pulled the best out of whatever circumstances that you had to deal with, whether in Sudan or at the different stage of making the film. And so we understand that the film production is a very complex and it is a complicated process, and there are different phases of producing a film. One of the first phase is about that, the pre-production, when you come together with a team, organize yourself, and do all this kind of thinking of exchange of ideas or whatever about the story, and about how to build that kind of a message through a story that we will be hearing from you in a couple of minutes. And also when we go to the production phase, that is which involves the actual production of the film and on the site. And then this last phase, which is post-production, which involves, is about distribution, and before that is about editing and to make things to the final shot. So starting by the film name, and it's all the films, the whole film really. I watched it twice, and I just feel it is a piece of connected elements. Everything you see here equals the first moment of the start of the story. So you feel that the start of the story is just really like built in every step in the film. And it helps you to understand the story and to understand the community, which is, overwhelmed by superstitious beliefs, which is something really fascinating and really also alarming, especially for those who don't have any kind of such kind of ideas. But it is kind of that part of Africa, because that is kind of a cultural aspect in the African community. And that's why, the film also, it's an African production by an African and Sudanese guy. And so you must have, or it also indicates a strong team and a leading approach and a very good relationship among the crew. And that, culminated to the production of this film, which is really fascinating for all the people in the whole wide world, from the what we heard from their compliments. So Amjad, you are a producer, you are a director, and you have had produced so many work, and now this one is really I don't want to say the best, but in terms of addressing kind of aspect in the Sudanese community, it's something not happened before. So that saying that, or having said that, that means that you have laid the ground for something new to the thinking of the Sudanese, especially the new generation. You also know that, or we all know that the film, and this is a question that I really want to address, is about that the film was produced in 2019, and Sudan has been overwhelmed by political, social problems for 3 decades, which also led to the stagnation of the film industry until 2010, when it started to revive. So having this intense time of history in Sudan, that is a revolution that started in December 2018, and then led to the toppling of the regime in 2019. So when did you start actually? When was the film produced? When were you able to photograph and to make all this in Sudan? Was it during this revolution, or did it start before the revolution? Was that
Yeah. We started shooting, preparing the film 2017. Started from the scouting, casting, all that early stage pre-production. And during 2018, the real pre-production started. since April. And we go through a lot of training, casting training, and even for the crew, because the crew the Sudanese crew, they never did a cinema film before, but they did a different kind of art, and they are very talented, but to prepare them more for cinema. So 2018 was all going as a rehearsals and trainings for all the crew, and preparing the locations, and that was very hard with the government, Islamic government, Bashir government, when already the same crew was fighting them on the streets, because all 2018 was hit and run, and somehow when the economical was going down. So even my crew was part of the of this protest, protesting before the revolution. Now I'm talking about 2018, when it was just like a month, of day here and day there. Well, December 2018, we started the first day of shooting with the Sudanese crew and the actors and the French crew and the Lebanese crew and the Egyptian crew in Medani, or in the villages around Medani, in 17th December. Well, the revolution started between 17 and 19 December. So the day we said first action, the action was also there in in North Sudan. And that was crazy, because we just had the camera and all the equipment was in the airport, and then the revolution started in the airport way and closed, and we couldn't take all the equipment, 4 ton of equipment that we brought from Egypt, stuck on the airport. And we don't have any option than just to shoot. So we started first 10 days of shooting, doing the external shots, that outdoor shots, so we don't need a lot of light. We need just the available light, or maybe we make it this way, because we have no options.
Fine, yeah. Because we will come to that, about this kind of, setting and the setup and this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we shot a month, and we finished shooting in 17th January. The revolution was still heating up. All this time, but at least we were far in a village. And the revolution was mostly that time in Khartoum and North Sudan, not even in Medani. After that, it started directly. I remember the last days of us shooting the last scenes. It started in Medani, around the hotel that we live in. And my crew started to be revolutionary, and they want the film shooting to finish so they can go back. And actually, that's what happened. And they got arrested. 3 of them, they got arrested in Khartoum. Yeah. And I remember one of the production team, Dexter, his name is Dexter. We call him Dexter. They shaved his long hair. Yeah.
So it was a very tense time and tense experience. I'm sure that you have learned a lot about it, and that in the end you will tell us about that lessons. So when we go now about the project itself, how did it come? How did it come to do the movie and to make this movie, and about this topic and in Sudan, and how was the idea developed?
The idea, that's very, very, easy to answer, because for me as a filmmaker, I do since 2001, I'm doing short films in Sudan or in Dubai or wherever. I don't see really the borderlines of things. I see where is the good story is. So I was preparing myself for my feature film one day, and I had different ideas. And then I found that short story by Hamour Ziada, Sleeping on the Mountain's Feet. So when I read it, I fall in love with Muzammil, the character. I felt compassion with him. I felt like if I want to one day to talk about the Sudanese citizen, Muzammil will be my window, and he will be the one to use to say how all the authorities affected this poor guy, the family authorities, the community, the village, the religious authority, all of it. So when I found that, I just said, this is my story. And also, there is something I really care about normally in Sudan, because I face it when my aunt died in 1993. The grieving, you know, Beit al-Bika, how we are Sudanese people grieve. I mean, I remember my mother and my aunts, they were black just to express sadness over their sister, my aunt, which she died in 30, and I'm 30 years old. And they were black for 2 years. That's why I decided, and that wasn't really in the novel, in the short story, to make the mother wearing black for 20 years when her son is still alive. But that's how she wanted to reflect the extreme sadness that she felt.
Oh yeah,
so
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is very good, really. And so it's just like reflections of a history that you are part of, and your family. So it's just you build it in the story.
I mean,
you add it
cinema,
to the story.
cinema, Doctor, it's really it's supposed to be a reflection for the artists who do it. That's why we called it. For me, that's why I love to explain the word of independent cinema. Some people, they thought independent cinema because it's independence of the studios. For me, I like to see it. It's independent because the artist, just like he's doing a paint, he's doing what he feels, and he reflects what his story is. I mean, if you ask me to do a film about something else in Sudan, I will try, but maybe some stories I can feel it's very important to have films on it, but I don't know how to express that. I didn't live that. So I prefer to not do it, you know. I prefer to do things that I can reflect myself. For example, Muzammil life is not really like mine. I mean, I'm from very open-minded family. You know, if I don't believe in God, I can say I don't believe in God, whatever, you know. But Muzammil is different. But at the same time, I put something in Muzammil, it's just very me. The fear of the water, the fear of the water. I never swim in a swimming pool, in a sea, in everything. And I made the main concern in the film, the water.
We'll come to that also to elaborate more on that. What is, you know, the relevance between you as a personally and Muzammil character. And we just say that, so after you have constructed the idea of the film and, you know, the different parts of it with your other producers, you know, your crew. And so we come to now to the budget, you know. I just want you to highlight to us is that because it is a huge film, a film that really incurred a huge budget. So was it easy for you to find, you know, funding sources, and was it also, were you able to stay within the original budget given all these hassles that you suffered and you encountered in Sudan?
Yeah, well, because 14 years before doing this film, 14 or 15 years, I was always part of the, you know, the big festivals in Middle East, and I traveled to Cannes market. I travel to Berlin all the time. So just all what I wanted to know, how to make films in a countries that doesn't have a public fund, and doesn't have like a production companies that can pay for making big films. So I discovered the co-production system. And this co-production system, it was the only way that we can do a film in Sudan without getting money from Sudan. So 2 years before the shoot, I was just going around introducing myself and my story to foreign and, you know, European producers. So, and with my Egyptian producers who I selected them first, Hussam Alwan, me and Hussam, Hussam, he knows Ingrid from Norway before, so she'll be involved from Norway. She brought us small money from Norway, not small, $50,000. And then with the German producer, Michael Hendricks, we brought like 100 something from Germany. And then with Arnaud de Moch, we brought like, you know, like 30% of the budget. The budget started like $500,000, but with all these things, and not just because of the revolution, because I wanted the film to be more valuable, and even for the editing, music. So I chose to do the color grading in France, in Paris. I spent there 2 weeks doing that, and then I wanted to do the music also in Paris. I spent a week with Amin Bouhafa doing that. I did the sound design and edit and all the effects in Beirut. So I spent 3 weeks in Beirut doing the sound. Plus I spent 2 months in Egypt editing the film with Egyptian editor Heba Osman. So yeah, I mean, we collect the money from France, Qatar, Norway, Germany, and also, it was easy to do that because the film was really catchy. I mean, when in most of the meeting, what is your film name? You will die at 20. It was like, what? And then
it was
to sell the idea
really
of the first film, the first film from 20 years in Sudan, and number 7 or 8 in Sudan history, Sudan cinema history. That was catchy for production, So yeah, I mean, that's why I like to do a producing. Now I'm producing a film, not directly.
And that is really a very good point for the Sudanese. That now we have got a person, a Sudanese guy who is really, really well versed in this issue of co-funding, and also in doing those global kind of movement to produce a film which is very really appealing in its contents, and even appealing as a film that is produced to the whole wide world to learn something new about Africa. So that is really something that we, something celebratory for us as African society, and for as a Sudanese, and for you and your crew. So again, congratulations. And then when we go to the production phase, and then so we go to the story, and then we see a middle-aged woman called Sakina holding her new baby, and she was asking for a blessing just a moment after he was born, and then a blessing from passing by Sheikh, and then that happened is that he wasn't blessed, but he was cursed. So instead of blessing, he was cursed by the Sheikh, and then she begged him to
by the Sheikh or by the people.
Yes, and the people, and we don't understand really about that action of that guy who was saying, Allah, 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 and he was counting up to 20, and then he just was counting, and then at the 20, he just fell down, and then that for the community, and immediately the Sheikh himself interpreted that as that is an indication of the age. So this is really, and even all the community also, all the people attending, they were also like got the same feeling. That this is 20 years. It's not that child has 30 years, and so it's just like and when we look at the other parts of the film, because it is not that is Muzammil, but it is also about the whole context, and the whole context is just give like a reflection of the diversity of Sudan, and social diversity. And yes, Sudan also, it also indicates a kind of reflection of totalitarianism and of the regime, maybe of the influence on the social context, the manipulation of religion on people, and that people, they become stagnant. So the film symbolizes, as I can see for me, symbolizes many issues and dimensions in power relationship in the Sudanese society.
Sorry, can you put on your camera, please?
Your camera, I can see you.
Yeah, I just let everybody in from the other chat because of the difficulties we were having. So there are other people in the room now.
Okay, so they are following. Okay, so it's good that we have just talking about the story.
Put on your camera, please.
Yes. I don't know what is this. Is it clear? Can you see?
It was now, no, not yet.
Okay. Okay, can't start before the host has stopped it. It says that you can't start because it is the host who stopped it. It's not me.
Okay.
So it's not me, it is the host.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because the name is Hadia. It is not Suad. So if you just put it off, so it is Hadia. It's Hadiya. So maybe you were confused. Yeah, yeah, that is why you thought that might be someone else. Yeah, yeah. So can you, so is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Now we can see you. Now we can see
okay.
you.
Okay, that's fine then. So as I was saying that, you know, the film for me is just like symbolizing many, you know, dimensions in the power relationship in our society, and the intersection, that is the intersectionality of religion, of fables, you know, this belief of people, and it's about gender also, as because there were many women, and there is a kind of the relationship, how it affects the whole community, and Muzammil itself, himself. And also it's about ethnicity. I read something also is about the color influential, and influence, and the social structure of society, and the division of the society. Because there is two societies. There is a combo society, which was described by some ways as a filthy, doing filthy things. When Naima, she was a child, and she was, you know, like talking to Muzammil and trying, you know, to asking him about whether he knows the surroundings, and it appears that he doesn't know anything about it. So that manipulation, and Muzammil grew up as a child, as a young adult. At this point, Amjad, that normally we see that children, they are very curious by nature. They want to learn, they want to do things, and they, you know, and they behave against their parents' advice. They try to go in between and, you know, find things themselves. They are adventurous, which is not the case with Muzammil. He was very obedient, very submissive, very passive person. He follows instructions. He doesn't question himself or his mind, or exercising any kind of agency that a person of his age should have. And so I couldn't really understand, because when we look now, and especially when he's approaching his 20s, he was an adult, you know, person. And now in the revolution of Sudan, it is a revolution of young generation, of young people. But Muzammil stands as something, very weird, and something not against what we understand about people who have agency, who make decisions, who grow up, you know, with full building, develop into a mindful person. But that is not the case. So how can you explain that, Amjad?
I explain that because cinema, in general, cinema, is dealing with the characters or with the examples of that we want to focus on them, not the majority. Cinema takes the ones that we like the most, or we hate the most, or we don't want people to be like them the most. You know what I mean? So Muzammil, for me, he raised in an idea. I mean, you and your sons and your brothers and me, we don't raise on that idea that we're gonna die in 20. So we are not the same path of Muzammil that he goes through. We had our parents, they don't left us because they're afraid of losing us. I mean, Muzammil is in cinema writing, we call him a passive character. He's very passive, and he's he did nothing. And that's why I wanted his girlfriend to be the one she leads, and she tried to push him, but she couldn't push him easily. And then Suleiman is trying to push him, but also this guy had some ideas built in for 20 years. It's not easy to push him. But then I think when he saw this close, when Suleiman died and he saw the horse, and maybe he thought it's like this messenger or something. He started to feel like he wanted to end this, to end the journey of waiting for this. And the rest just passed by him and took his mentor, you know. and he's supposed to be on the same way few days after. So, or that's what he's saying, because we don't know the range of the days exactly, by the way. I mean, even Sakina, she's writing the counting in the walls, not really a proper counting.
Yeah.
And that part of what I want, even when the father asked her, how old is he now? She said, as long as you're absent. We don't have numbers. The time is loose in this film, you know. And I wanted to lose because the characters want the time to be loose. They don't want to know exactly where the death is coming. So I think Muzammil, when he decided to do a revolution, he did it in the way that he thought is right, by going to Sitan Nisa, and that's because he don't have experience, he don't have enough knowledge. He took the idea from here, he thought this is the way to do the experience, the new experience. But for me, at least,
can we leave that point? Can we leave that point?
Just I want to finish this part.
Okay.
For me, because you mentioned the revolution, and I don't want really all the time to compare the film with the revolution, because I started writing the film 2 years before the revolution. So it's not really, I don't want to, بالعربي بدنا نتلصق فيها يعني. So, but at the same time, some people, they saw his run and leaving the village behind, all the crazy ideas behind, a run for a future, that promised future that Suleiman told him about. This run, some people comparing it with the run of Sudanese people of the street. And by the way, we showed that scene in 15th January when Sudanese people were running on the streets. It was just like coincidence, you know, or maybe not coincidence, because for me, I'm someone looking all the time for freedom. So maybe when I wrote the script, I was part of me, want Sudanese people to run.
Oh yeah, okay, that's really absolutely. And so you mentioned now to Uncle Suleiman, and Uncle Suleiman likewise also, because the whole story for me is like very symbolic, and Uncle Suleiman is just like symbolizing liberal will, and a person who is educated, who is enlightened, who has explored many parts of the world. He is like a musician. He plays music, and he has a cinema.
Photographer also.
Oh yes, all these things, and he has a very bright, bright thinking. He is a person who isolate himself from this very traditional society and become isolated, but he hold on to his own things and his own choices, the way of his life, drinking alcohol. He has a girlfriend, and he smokes cigarettes, all these things, and he doesn't belong. Maybe it's just in name, he belongs to that community. But is it not a problem? And he also let Muzammil, as you mentioned, to explore the world through the cinema, that it is not all about the mosque and about the prophecy itself and about his the dukkan of that shop. It's not about that. The world is something bigger, and there is something good in the world. There's something bright in the world, and he has to move outside to build a new character. He was trying to do that, but as a liberal person, a liberal atmosphere, but it is indulged with alcohol and women. Do you think that is there any
cliché?
Is that?
Like cliché? We say it in French, cliché, like stereotyping?
Yeah. Because in the end, Muzammil, it works anyway. It works in the end. But, with the Sudanese and this conservative kind of attitudes or beliefs and propagations of things, and, even people who wrote about the film. There are some Sudanese wrote about the film as something, insulting to the community and, things like that.
Insulting for what?
For just for this, you know, like relationship and this is what they say, but that is not yet.
Insulting because it never exists, well, or insulting
because they deny all these things.
They deny,
yeah.
Yeah.
Just deny.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about what people say because I don't. I understand the shock of you know, having 30 years without cinema. That make people, they just they used to documentary, so they want to see something documented. You know, I mean, the idea of making characters and thinking why this character should do that, why character we will say something, some you know, like bad word or something. Why we should hear it. Yeah, it happened in real life, but we don't have to. This is all the issues of having no cinema for 30 years with the cinema closed. So this is not my issue now. I made my film, I want to talk about my character. And but for me, Suleiman is he's someone who's trying to talk about life and he's all death. As Nisa, she called him. She told him, like, you are just like you say all the philosophy for this poor kid about life and happiness, and you are all sadness and you are all death. So this is the answer for your question, I think. It's not about the liberal who drink, because at the end of the day, most of the village are drinking, and you know that, you know, in the villages.
Yes, because
so it's not about, it's not in the full, because Muzammil will see something different in this guy. He will hear different music, Asmahan, and I want everything about Suleiman is just coming from another world for Muzammil eyes. You know, it's all about, because the film is in perspective of the main character, Muzammil. We see much of the film through his eyes. So we saw Suleiman, the alien, through his eyes. It's not about the liberal party, because I'm a liberal. So, and I'm drinking, and you know, so what is the problem here? I don't see it. But drinking doesn't mean to be alcoholic. That's something else. And I don't think Suleiman is the normal drinker. He's alcoholic. He's facing something in his life. We don't know what is it. It's not, you know, he faced something. Maybe, you know, this ideas of the ending of life. He's going through something, so he's drinking too much, he's smoking too much, and still he talk about the freedom and liberal way, but he can't really marry his girlfriend because she's from another level that he can't really, she can't be his wife. But at the same time, he have nothing to fear. I mean, if he just decided to marry her, he can do that. He has no family now to fear of and nothing. But still that old ideas that built on him and somehow. And he's trying to be the liberal one. I mean, you know, this kind of characters that doesn't say everything, but I like to throw that in the film. Even it's not the main story, but I like Suleiman character, how it's there in the film.
Oh, that's absolutely. It was brilliantly displayed. It was brilliantly, really constructed. And okay, because there will be workshops.
1 second.
Yes.
Because we have to start wrapping up in about 10 minutes, and there are quite a few questions from the audience. So if you could kind of, if you could start wrapping up. Do you have a lot of questions?
Yeah, okay. And, you know, these are the main questions, you know, that we have asked. And maybe the last thing to highlight in this very short minutes is about how did you manage, because the team look are very connected and like they understand, they grasp the whole idea, and it just looks something natural. And so how did you manage to bring those actors? Yes, you mentioned about training them and whatever. So how
the actors?
Yes, the actors, the selection of actors. And
I mean, because we don't have cinema in Sudan, so definitely we don't have cinema actors in Sudan. So from the first time, I decided to mix, because I believe in some actors who already act on theater and TV drama like Mahmoud al-Sarraj and Sulaiman, or Islam Mubarak on Sakina, or Abdurrahman al-Shibli, the shop owner, and So I just decided to mix, and the new faces that I announced a casting in the social media, and I got Bunna Khalid, Naima's character, and I got Mustafa Shahata, Muzammil, the leading role character, and then I had to find the kids. So Muzammil, the kid, is my cousin, and I just noticed how he looks like Muzammil, like Mustafa Shahata, and yeah. So it was mixed, but we had like 8 months or maybe 1 year of training. So it was training with me weekly, all of them, for 8 months. And 2 weeks before the shoot, I brought from Egypt the great actress Salwa Muhammad Ali as an acting coach to train them from actress to actors, And also had a plus with having the great Mahmoud Hamida, the Egyptian actor, Mahmoud Hamida, and he had just like 7 days talking to them about cinema, about his experience in 30 years as an actor. So that was very helpful.
Okay, nicely and presented and fascinating, and now it has been selected to submission to the Academy Awards of 2021. So can you tell us about how did that happen?
Well, that was a very nice ending for the journey, because it's not started with the selection. I mean, the first screening of the film, it was in September 2019 on Venice Film Festival, the oldest and the oldest festival in the world. And we got the Lion of the Future. I mean, one of the most prestigious award in the world. From Venice Film Festival, and then the film, start jumping from festival to festival, maybe more like 140 film festivals so far. We got 20 awards so far from different festivals like Carthage in Tunisia. We got 3 awards. We got the award of Gona Film Festival, the Grand Award from Switzerland, the Grand Prix of Gothenburg Film Festival. We screened the film in Busan, in Toronto, and so the journey was great. To end this journey was your country, the new government in the country, to believe that they're supposed to submit the film to the Oscars, following all the complicated process, starting from doing a committee. And actually, the Minister of Culture of Sudan, they hired a freelancer, very good girl, and to just be the one who contacted the Oscar. I mean, they took it that serious.
So it is the government of Sudan, the transitional government of Sudan, who endorsed this submission.
Definitely. I mean, the Oscar for the foreign films, you can't just send your film to them. Your country is supposed to do a committee and see what films now, and they saw all the films, and they select a film and submit it.
So finally, what is your distribution plan, and what is your message to the African and the Sudanese who are engaged in the cinema, especially the younger generation who are involved and engaged in the, those artists who are looking forward to you and looking inspired by your experience? What do you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I hope this film at least opened a door, or at least answer the question of, is it worth it? They always say that. We should work 2-3 years on a film. Is it worth it? Yes. Yes, when you just decide and you work hard for it and you believe in yourself and your crew and your story, it's worth it. It's worth it, definitely. So yeah, cinema will add something for this country. But to reach that, we need to do many things. We need to educate people to start. I will not say cinema school in Sudan, because I know that could be complicated now, but at least the government should start sending those talents, writers, filmographers, and actors to outside to exchange programs with US, with Paris, with France, with Egypt. We can just do that. Send them to locations, to real life locations, shooting a film for a month or two. Send a director to just be a trainee there. I mean, that the government should do. I mean, Africa, it's different, different examples. In South Africa, they are more advanced than another countries in Africa. In Egypt, more advanced than Libya. So just to say Africa, I can't say that, but I can say to all the world. In Africa, we have a very unique stories, different stories. It's not told yet.
Yep.
So
yeah. Thank you very much, and it was good to see you and to talk to you.
Thank you, Doctor.
And we're looking forward really to more production, and congratulations. And keep
Thank
it
you.
up,
I'm working now in a new film with the Sudanese director, Mohamed Kordofani, and the film called Goodbye, Julia. Just waiting for that. I'm the main producer of the film. And we're supposed to shoot end of this year.
Mojisola, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was a fantastic conversation. I was actually going to ask you, Amjad, what your next projects are. So where are you shooting that?
In December this year.
No, where? What country?
Yeah, but not as a director. I mean, this is as a producer. It's called Goodbye, Julia. Very interesting film. And so far, we got a lot of awards, just like development awards from around the world. And we have 5 co-producers from France and Norway and Germany and Egypt. And yeah, the director's name Mohamed Kordofani is a very talented guy. And the film will be ready 2022. Yeah.
Where are you going to shoot it?
In Khartoum, this one. Maybe that will be the first feature film in Sudan that shot in a city, not in a village like all the film that we had. So this is happening between 2005 when John Garang died and 2010 when Sudan became 2 Sudans through the eyes of 2 women from South Sudan and North Sudan.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that should be interesting. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
The last 5 years of the United Sudan before the separation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I had a few questions, and then I'm going to go to the audience questions quickly. So the bird that was perched on the cow, what did it symbolize, and how did you shoot that? Because that bird was so still. I kept looking at it.
I know.
How did he shoot?
Well, how would say that in English?
You tied.
We tied it on the cow. But actually, who brought them? It's like what the hunting. It's something in military. Something in military. Part of the military that care about the environment. So they have this kind of birds. So they brought it. It's trained, and and the cow, it's a real dead cow. I mean, that area it's already dead. I mean, that area, because it's very like a farms area, a lot of dead cows there. So I remember a month before that, my crew was like, Amjad, we will build a cow for you. So guys, no, I know that area because my dad's from there, and I can't forget when I was a kid going to my dad's village, for a funeral or for wedding, how I was so scared seeing the dead cows on the streets all the time.
And they're still there. It's still happening.
I mean, it's still happening because, because someone going with 100 cows, and 1 cow died. He can't stop. So he left it and he moved. Yeah. So it's a real dead cow, and I wanted that to start a film about death.
Okay, yes. Okay, that makes sense. The other question I had is, why was
Muzammil,
why did he keep listening to people's heartbeats?
But he's weak.
It kept going like that.
Because for heartbeats.
Yes.
He's afraid. He's afraid of losing people. Because this is life. He's programmed in 2 words: life, death, life, death. That's it. So all the time he wanted to make sure his mother is alive. When he missed his father, he wanted to see. I mean, his connection is the heartbeats. And the third time when he listened to the heartbeat, it's for the one who was telling him about life. And it's the only one the heartbeat wasn't there. Sulaiman, when I did.
That was so well done. That was so well done. I loved the way you played on different things. It was very well done. So the last question for me is, can you discuss the green and red outfits that those guys on the canoes?
This is this is really there normally for all the Sufism, the Sufi dress in Sudan. It's red and green, most of them.
Wait, hold on. Can you explain, because not everybody knows what the Sufi Muslims are.
Sure. I mean, Muslim is different parties all the time, just like Christian,
exactly.
You have the Orthodox you have. So just to make it more easier, when you saw ISIS, those the Salafis, the extreme, they are very extreme, and Sufi, they are not this way. I mean, music, for example, it's not haram in Sufi, it's haram in so in Sufism have this very spiritual side of it, more Buddhist, more Christian, maybe, this part of, that's why maybe I compare it with the Jesus and Virgin Marie, when Sakina holding Muzammil on the dream of Muzammil. Just I wanted to see how the Christianity sometimes reflect on the Sufism or the opposite. But at the same time, because the Sufism in Sudan is very strong, and it acted for years like the protection for Sudanese people against the Salafis. So this is a good part, and that a good part what Sufism did. But because they did it in a long term, now we have a new faces in Sufism who like a lot of kissing their hands, and they can, say things that are not right, like telling some women, you will never bring kids and your belly will never be full of this kind of and now you have to bring a cow and give it to me, because all this kind of stuff started to be happening for someone liar or someone really he believe on that, but also he's a liar, and he doesn't know he's a liar. So that's why I felt like this film should be made. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I tell you something? The kid, Muzammil, is my cousin. Muzammil, the kid.
Oh!
He's my cousin. His mother, she's really engaged and believed on those things. And she was with us in the shooting for 2 days, and then she started to believe on things in that area, and we stopped her. And actually, 1 year after the shoot, she died. Ooh. Now she passed away a few months ago, and she died after she lost her mind because she saw her someone close to her, like, and she did something for her with the shades. Yes. You know what? And now Muzammil the kid, he's going through the same what happened in the film right now.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And she's my I mean, she's the wife of my uncle. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We lost her, and now Muzammil the kid, he lived with us with my mother in Sudan, because I had no mother now. Yeah. Kind of, we adopted him now.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. I mean, that's much it's happening there.
Well, I totally understand that, and I have a friend on here. I'm trying not to say too much, but my mother was like that. My mother was like that. So I definitely, I understand that, but that's what they grew up in. That's what they grew up to understand. You know, our indigenous culture and our indigenous beliefs, and it's just that, you know, maybe we just haven't evolved. We haven't evolved our belief systems.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with, you know, like African indigenous. We haven't evolved.
Yeah.
We've taken on foreign things and foreign ways, and you know, but that's a whole other conversation. So okay, go to the audience because there are quite a few questions.
Yeah, because I have to move also.
There are lots of comments, and
I will try to answer them very fast because I have to run.
Lots of the questions have been answered in this conversation. Can you just tell us one memorable moment you can remember from making the film?
I mean, every time was a moment to remember, definitely. But I mean, I don't know. All the experience for me like a dream, you know. Like it never happened. You can't believe how much was hard doing the film, shooting that film. I mean, I remember we know some people around us on the location. They are spies from the government, you know, and we were afraid anytime the film will stop. So yeah, and we get kicked out from a village once. You know, and I lost 5 locations during I'm shooting. I lost 5 locations that already I started to build and stuff, you know, like 3 months before the shoot. And I had to choose a replacement and make it, you know, in the color that I want in 2 days. This including the mosque, including Naima's house, including the Quran school, and another 2 locations I can't remember now.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask these 2 questions. One is from, hey, Prof, this is your question. This is from our darling Prof, Dr. Akutinobi. He said the film, and he's actually on there, I think he's on video. The film richly invites critical reflections on faith, destiny, mystical aspects of belief systems, coming of age experiences. Could you please expand on this? And thanks very much, and hearty congratulations all around.
Thank you, Doctor. But yes, the film is about those. I don't know what to say about that, but yeah, I just want to see how religious can affect a life of this person without he choose anything, and not because the religion is bad or good. It's just because people taking it too much, and you know, on him. They force it in somehow with their updated belief, because you know, even part of a lot of Muslims, they say no, the religion is not like that. No one can knows when he can die. But the new people, they just keeping upgrade things in a way that they can control people.
Okay, thank you for that. A. Musa said, I would just like to say, I think it's a fantastically made film with an amazing amount of symbolism, and even the visualization of the film was beautiful. It opened such a great discussion that needed to be had. Thank you for that, A. Musa.
Thank you.
See questions, please. And the question from another prof, Dr. George Potter said, beautiful film and rich conversation. There's so many aspects that I missed, but the conversation has helped to fill the gaps. I was fascinated by the relationship today. Muzamil, of course, but Sakina and Auntie Nafisa both living in mourning, the elderly waiting eagerly for death. Is this a reflection of a particular philosophical relationship to death that comes out of the region, the history, and the philosophical traditions? I think you touched on that a little bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I talked about. First of all, thank you for noticing that, because I love those 2 characters, and that's why I let Sakina wear black when Nafisas were white. This is just, I reflect my personal memory when my aunt died, and my mother and my aunts, they were black. And I remember my grandmother, she were white. Because something in Sudan, when a woman lost her daughter or son, she were white. You know, she were white for a year, I mean, year or two. Here, maybe Nafisa, she been through a real death of her son, and she told Sakina that I wear white all my life, but at least my son is dead. Yours is not really. So why are you wearing black on him? So I like that conversation between them, and I like the reflection. Sakina, I mean, Nafisa, the aunt Nafisa, she's like the future of Sakina, you know, and, you know, like a reflection for each other.
Okay. So I think that's it for questions. I want to thank Dr. Musa again, Amjad Abu Alala, I love that name, for gracing us with your presence. Can you just give us some inspirational words for upcoming filmmakers?
Yeah, guys, just trust in yourself, trust in your African story, or whatever your story, by the way. I don't want also people to be stuck for the map, you know. The map is very important. I put it on my wall. But don't stuck to it. I mean, if you find a nice story to be made in Sri Lanka, go and do it. You are a storyteller. You are not an ambassador. You are an ambassador somehow, but at least follow the story where you want to tell it. I mean, maybe my next film, I will do it in South Africa, not Sudanese, or maybe Sudanese if I found something I want to tell it there. I mean, don't stuck to the map, stuck to your art, believe in yourself, believe in things can be happening if you plan it well, and believe in teamwork, because you alone, maybe you can't do many things in this complicated system of production. So you need the producer, you need to trust different producers from around the world. Don't all the time listen to the idea of, so if you get a European producer, he will be changing your story to be something as they want, not normal, not always. I mean, you can just interview this guy before you sign on, and you can see if he's that kind of people or not. I mean, just try to be open to the world.
Okay, last words from director Amjad Abu Alala. Thank you very much. You deserve a round of applause. You make Africa proud. You make all of us proud. I'm so happy that everything happened, really organically. So even though we've had technical issues, I apologize again for the technical issues, but
it's okay.
Yeah,
that is the normal of 2020 and 2021.
Yeah,
so this is the normal.
COVID time. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the back end that people don't know. I have a laptop here, I have this here. The back end didn't connect. That's why the live stream didn't work. But I sent out the Zoom link, so at least some people were able to get on. So you can actually, this is being recorded, which is a beautiful thing. You can see it on our YouTube channel, African Film Arts Foundation. The film, You Will Die at 20, is still being screened on our platform. You can go to our website, africanfilmartsfoundation.org. You can register to watch. You can watch it for free. And this project is actually supported by Georgia Humanities. So we want to thank them as well, because they're our sponsor for this particular screening of Cinema for the Culture.